That's not water.
No, it's not.
What news telling you? Oh, you'll be
You ready? Okay.
just like
Call the meeting, call to order. Stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Everybody says.
Mr. Jim Angela.
here.
Mr. Jim.
Here.
Mrs. Wolford.
Here.
Mr. Scapora.
Here.
Mr. Baldneri.
Here.
Mr. Forish.
Here.
Mayor Griffin.
Here. Okay, so I see we have citizens requesting comments. Do we have anybody who wants to speak? No. Okay. A.
Jim Miller isn't here.
A. Okay, A.
Madam Mayor and members of the council, there is
Jack.
one item for action this evening, and this is under Administration of Finance. It's an ordinance, and I will highlight the ordinance. It's amending Chapter 51 Taxation, Section 5116 Tax Imposed, to increase the city share of earned income tax from 0.63% to 0.90% for fiscal year 2014 and thereafter, and repealing Chapter 51, Article 3, occupation tax. And in Section 2, subsection 5116 is amended to state that an annual tax for general revenue purposes of 0.90 is hereby imposed on salaries, wages, commissions, and other compensation earned by residents. In section, looking here, in that same section, Part B, the tax is increased to from 0.50 to 1.0 on salaries, wages, commissions, and other compensation earned by non-residents. And in section, I'm trying to find it here, in section 3, we are repealing section 5137, which is the $10 occupation tax. The proper motion would be to enact the ordinance as outlined by the solicitor.
May I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I so move.
Mr. Baldneri, second, please.
I second, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Forish. Any questions or discussion?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I have several questions I'd like to ask.
The mic's not on, Richard, so
Yeah, we don't
Okay.
have.
Oh, okay.
you don't
Or
worry
I'm
about
sorry,
it.
yeah.
Can you hear me back there? Mr. Solicitor and Alex, my question essentially concerns non-residents. I note that you have pegged that at 0.5 for non-residents. I'm just wondering why we don't have it at 0.9. In other words, the total tax being 1.4%, so that an individual who is a non-resident would pay the difference between what they pay in the municipality where they reside and the 1.4%. What's the answer?
When council last changed the earned income tax, going from 0.5 to 0.63, it enacted a 0.5 rate for non-residents who, in the jurisdiction that they reside, have no local earned income tax collections. However, though it was in the code, it's never really been, part of our collections. Quite frankly, there's very few people who would fall into the category of living in a jurisdiction where there's no local district or municipality, school district collecting the tax. But to your point, though, you cannot collect the difference if you have a different rate. In other words, if any rate is collected locally, whether it's 0.1% or 1%, then that's fine. They don't get an additional percentage. There's no way to collect over and above what's being collected locally. So again, if someone resides in Adamsburg and works in this town, and Adamsburg collects 0.1%, we collect 0.9%, they would still only pay 0.1%. We can't go after the difference in those jurisdictions.
Why?
Because that's the way the state code is written.
Is that correct?
Yes, it is, Mr. Jim. That is absolutely correct.
We've had several discussions with state officials on it to get a ruling from, if you will, from the DCD, and that's been each time.
Have you ever had a written ruling from them? I mean, for a community such as us, a home rule community?
I've not. Quite frankly, there's only one.
I understand what I'm saying. I know that in Greensburg, you pay a total of what, 1.5?
1.6.
1.65. But I'm thinking Unity Township and Dairy Township, their total is only 1%.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
All right, so I guess my question is, it's not illegal to go to 1.4% and take the 0.4% from the non-residents who only pay 1% in Unity and Dairy Township.
It's not permitted, correct.
All right, that's my first question.
Okay. Second?
Second question, it's brief also. Under the definition of businesses, are rental properties considered businesses for the purposes of this ordinance? And if not, can they be considered businesses for the purposes of this ordinance?
I would have to look at the definition, Mr. Jim. I honestly can't answer that without going back to our own ordinance.
What kind of properties? I didn't hear.
That'd be
He's asking real estate rentals. Are considered to be a
rental, the
business.
net profit from rentals, is that taxable as earned income?
At the local level, yes.
I don't know, I mean, that's why I'm asking.
Because they'd be paying taxes on it at the,
I would think if the rentals generate a net profit
Correct.
and a Schedule C, assuming that person may be a sole proprietor, a Schedule C would be filed, I can see no reason why the profits from that enterprise would be any different than selling ice cream. If you end up having to file a Schedule C.
Are we collecting any?
I can ask our collector. I do not know at this time.
Well, I think 1/3 of the properties in the city are rentals. And they may be whether it's residents or non-residents, they're on the rentals. That's why I asked the question.
if they file their taxes properly, I believe there is a place on the local tax form. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think there's a place that you mentioned, Mr. Kelly, that if you have a profit, if you're showing a profit from another business,
Right. No, absolutely.
you have to attach a schedule to the local tax form.
That's what I was asking, like, I didn't know whether we covered that or not.
If they do their taxes properly.
But I don't know, I'd have to look at our own ordinance, Mr. Jim, to see what business encompasses or doesn't.
Even though it occurs after January 1st, I wonder if you would render an opinion.
If you're in the real estate tax billing cycle,
Be under section, chapter 51.
5173, 5172.
I'm just trying to see if there's a definition section there that would define, among other things, business.
It's my belief you have to define it in the ordinance, Kelly.
Can I join you for a second, Mr. Ford?
Yes.
While we're researching this, I have another question. What we're calling the occupation tax is billed as the per capita tax, is that correct?
Yeah.
When it comes out on that card, it actually says per capita, I don't believe it says occupation.
Correct.
So what
Yeah, there's been a little bit of difference. There's two, the school district has one, which has not been revealed,
Yes.
and we have one, and you're correct.
They're both
The
listed as per
reason,
capitas.
the reason I'm using the term occupation, because that's really how it's listed as the state use it under the enabling law, under Act 511. So we were really misnaming it. Look,
I just want to make
But it
sure
isn't,
that that's
I
the
don't.
same tax.
Yeah.
The per capita tax that we're billing at is this occupation tax that we're
Correct.
billing.
Alex, everything I understood, Berkheimer, since they've taken over the collection of the local taxes, statewide, they've seen a pretty significant increase in collection.
as the
rates.
county's tax collector, yes. In fact,
We've seen that same increase.
yeah, we're at about $940,000 in collections.
And compared
When this
to-
budget was prepared, this one here that I have in front of you,
2013.
we're projecting 910,000, so we've collected about 34,000 above
What we had been collecting.
Oh, we're way above what we have been collecting.
You're talking about 2014 budget you're projected, not
Right,
10.
yeah, I'm talking about 2013. The first, wasn't that their
2013.
first full year of
Yes.
collections?
Last year was their
Yeah.
first full year, and this is
Oh.
their second year. And they're doing very well.
And there's just there's a little bit of precaution taken in these numbers from Berkheimer that they haven't collected from the wrong people. If they have a Latrobe address, but they actually live in Unity Township. So there has to be some trepidation
Yes.
with taking in the amount that they've collected for us, that somewhere along the line, someone says, wait a minute, I don't live in a city. I live in Unity Township, I pay a different tax rate. So there's, even though we see a higher number, there may be some, because they're first time takeover of this collection.
But this is their second, 2013 was their
This is their
second
second
year.
year. And again, they're doing different audits to kind of
2012
figure
was their
something
first
out.
year.
But I would always,
They'll do that, they'll get it all figured out,
Yeah.
but looking at these numbers, we take it with a
so,
little bit of trepidation that there might be some give back because there's some
Miscollection.
miscollection on Berkheimer's part, and they get that straightened out through the course of the year.
Mr. Jim, there is a definition, it's under Article 2, Earned Income Tax, and it defines business to include any enterprise, activity, profession, or undertaking of any nature conducted for profit or ordinarily conducted for profit, whether by an individual, co-partnership, association, or other entity. So the answer is yes, this does encompass the rental of real estate if it's done for profit. Now, the second question is, do all people who are landlords fill out their taxes correctly? That I can't answer unless we started to look at individual owners or landlords to the, and
It
look
would
at their
still be the
taxes.
net profit on it.
Beg your pardon?
It would be the net profit.
Correct. If they operated a loss, then obviously
With
there's nothing to tax.
depreciation and everything taken out.
But they would have to file Schedule C, just like I have to file.
Anybody else have any questions, discussions? Okay, Alex?
this is amending Chapter 51 for the earned income tax and repealing the per capita tax ordinance 2013-12. Ready? Mr. Forish,
Yes.
Mr. Baldinari,
Yes.
Mrs. Wolford,
Yes,
Mr. Scapora,
Yes.
Mr. Jim,
Yes,
Mr. Giangelo,
Yes.
and Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
That is 7 yes, and
Okay, motion carried. Okay,
12.
okay, motion was carried.
Yep. Motion adjourned.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to.
Wait. Before we get started, I just want to encourage the new council. I've never received any satisfaction with regard to the crosswalks. That's an issue that's stuck in my craw since they were installed somehow, somewhere, someday, perhaps, before they're completely worn smooth. They may
Have you
get.
had a chance to see the sample area that we worked
Yeah,
on?
and that's fine, I'm happy with that, but that's just it, it's just a sample. Hopefully, we can get our public works department or someone and get that turned around and maybe some additional manpower or hours or something with regard to that.
Dress them up.
And I'd also like to see the new council, as, especially one member of the new council, and the witch hunts, parking tickets, drug testing, arson investigations, sexual misconduct, throwing these things out, seeing what sticks. I hope the new council takes it upon themselves to conduct themselves in a more collegial manner, and good luck to all of you.
yeah, what I do say too, good luck to, not everything he said, but good luck.
Madam Mayor, I have a wish list also for the new council. I'd like to suggest that we be rather lenient and sort of take note of what happens with the orange-colored recycling totes. I've had a lot of complaints from people that don't intend to use them. don't want them. And I just hope that somehow we can come to some compromise and maybe usher in some changes that would help out people that really can't move that 65-gallon tote, even if it means giving out an orange sticker and allowing them to use a black bag to put their recyclables in with a free orange sticker or something, just so people, we give them some options. That's all. And thanks, everybody, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Yeah. Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second
Or
that motion.
Mr. Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.